Good morning, second graders. Today we are going to be continuing talking about equal shares. Yesterday we talked about equal shares of a circle, and today we're going to continue that, but our shape today is going to be rectangle. So remember our two colors, green, go with me, and red, stop and watch. Okay, today we're on page 39 in your student journal. So if you can open your student journal to page 39. And our objective or our goal for today is today I will learn about partitioning. And remember, partitioning means cutting. Partitioning rectangles that are equal shares. Okay, and they give us in our vocabulary section some descriptions of what this looks like, just so we can refer back to that. Okay, I'm going to put down my green pen and pick up my red, so you could put down your pencil as well and watch me do a couple of these. Okay, so my first problem says partition the rectangle into halves. Okay, so halves tells me there's going to be two parts, and they want me to use a rectangle today. So one way I could do this is I could cut it in half right there. So I put it in two parts, which is halves, and they are equal, or they're fair shares. I also could have taken my rectangle and I could have cut it horizontally into two equal fair shares. That would have worked as well. Okay, let's look at another question. This question asks me to partition my rectangle into thirds. Thirds means 3. So they want me to cut into equal parts a rectangle into 3 pieces. So I could do vertical lines. Now notice when I cut that, I made 2 lines, and that cut it into 3, or partitioned it into 3 parts. I could also take another rectangle and I could partition it horizontally into 3 equal parts. Okay, let's look at even another one. Okay, this one you're going to see me do 3 different ways that I could answer this question. So my last question says, let's partition the rectangle into fourths. Fourths means 4 parts. And remember, we want them to be equal and fair. Okay, let me move my paper up. Equal and fair shares. So here's my rectangle. And notice how many lines it's going to take to cut it into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3 lines cut it into 4 parts, or fourths. I could also do it horizontally. 1, 2, 3 lines cuts it into 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, or partitions it into 4 parts. Or I could actually do a vertical and a horizontal line, and then I partitioned it into 4 equal parts. So really the goal is that my parts have to be equal. They have to be equal parts. Okay, let's do a few together. Please open your books to page 44. And you should be able to find this page, 44 again. Okay, our first one says we're going to partition a rectangle into halves. Remember, halves means 2. So we could first draw a rectangle, and we could use a vertical line to cut it into 2 parts. Or we could have used a horizontal line to cut it into 2 equal parts. So either of those would be correct. Okay, let's try another one. Partition the rectangle into thirds. Thirds means that we're going to have 3 equal parts. So we could use vertical lines, and we have 1, 2, 3 equal parts. Or we could use horizontal lines and get 1, 2, 3 equal parts. Okay, let's do one more together. This time they want us to partition or cut equally into fourths, which is 4 equal parts. So remember for this one, I had 3 different ways. I could do vertical lines to make 4 equal parts. I could have done horizontal lines to make 4 equal parts. Or I could have also done lines like this to make 4 equal parts. Okay, so those are different ways that I could have done this. Now sometimes people even want to do diagonals. I'm going to show you something about diagonals. If I had drawn a square as my rectangle, because squares are rectangles, I could have done diagonals and my parts would have been very equal. So that would have worked. But if we would have made a long skinny rectangle and I tried to make diagonals, do those look like they're going to be really equal? No, not necessarily. So this would only work if it was 4 equal sides, which is a square. It would not have worked for that. So why don't you cross that one off or erase that one? Okay, boys and girls, you're going to turn the page and do page 45 by yourselves, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.